What's up, you guys? This is your boy Miguel here to give you your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering why I enjoy working in the emergency room as an X-ray tech. So to give you context, I've been X-ray tech for about 4 years. And out of all the places you can do X-ray, I feel like the emergency room, depending on what level of, because there's like trauma 1, trauma 2, trauma 3, trauma 4. Depending on which trauma level you work at, you'll see different things. But regardless of where, you get you have a little bit of consistency throughout the year, but then you get the little spice of random, some RNG, as you can say. Because in the emergency room, yes, you have the standard, people come, they cough, their tummy hurts. You go through the typical COVID, winter, flu season, typical chest x-rays and stuff. But then you get people get into crashes, people do stuff they're not supposed to, and they get hurt. You see stabbings, you see gunshots, you see random stuff you would never see anywhere else. Because like if you work at the main radiology, you mainly do like all the fluoroscopy, all the GI, all the like standard, typical, normal stuff. And if you work in the patient out building, it's mainly just a bunch of like post-op, pre-op chest surgery. Maybe you get to see a few cool things too there in surgery, but you're mainly fixing it and you're not really like seeing it in its truest form. So if you're like me, who likes a little bit of excitement, the emergency room has that to play. Now obviously if you work in a trauma 1, which is the highest level of traumas for those who do not know, you can find somewhere like Dallas, Chicago. All the big cities have the big traumas. Those are where you will find the most craziest things. Now obviously even me, who works in a trauma 3, we get a few pretty intense stuff, but majority of the times, even when we get them, we don't keep them long, because we just get them, have them like barely patched up so they can survive the chopper ride to the nearest trauma 1, which where I live at, that is Dallas. So we do see them for a little bit, and I tell you what, when they do come in, it is quite an excitement scene in my hospital. I mean, not for me, but for like the patient or anything, but like just seeing how my hospital's not crazy big compared to other ones, but the amount of like teamwork and the amount of gathering of resources and people when something major comes in, even if you don't know and you're just a bystander, you can see how quickly the emergency room turns when something big happens. You get like every single department bringing like their best teams, their best like everything, because you don't know what's coming. Sometimes you do, but it's almost like in a video game where you're going into the battlefield and you're facing the big boss, so you like bring all your it's quite interesting to see that. And even me as an x-ray tech who just does the simple pressing of the button, and mainly just a chest x-ray, pelvis or whatever's got hurt, sometimes you only get, in those times you only get like one shot to do your job and to like get the perfect image, because maybe they're doing compressions, maybe like a lot of stuff's going on, and obviously with our job people have to back off, stop what they're doing just because of the radiation and the safety issues like that. So it's like your true moment to shine, and no one appreciates it unless it's like someone like the doctor or someone of your own peers who are working with you, because that's truly where you get, I call it the money shot, where you're like the chest x-ray, let's say they have a gunshot to their chest and they're doing compressions, and you're lining the board, you get everything ready, and you only have that one chance to shoot before you got to move out of the way, and they continue to do compressions, and you get like, and especially if you get like a textbook level chest x-ray, it gets you excited. It makes you feel like you did something good, and it's quite interesting. Even like the nurses, you'll see them running around. You have like the house supervisor. You have everything on deck. Got the surgeons being called. It is quite a sight. Nothing like it. Like that. The amount of yelling and talking and back. It looks very, very hectic at times. But, or depending, there's other traumas that they'll be super high tier, especially if there's nights where there's traumas back to back to back. Most of the time, people will be so calm. People will be in a high level, just cracking jokes, just like another day at the office. And I'll sit there and I'm like, this is wild. We have this patient getting this done, and across him we got this thing. And our nurses are just like a normal, ain't nothing going on. The doctors, nothing going on. And I'm just like, this is interesting, because like if you bring other nurses, there's been times where other nurses from the floor comes down, or other people who don't work in the emergency room, or maybe they're barely starting to work in the emergency room, and you'll see them, and it's always fun to see like the first like true trauma, and you just see them in their face. They're like kind of lost, puzzled, almost shocked. And then it's quickly like, because they usually, if you just start working in the emergency room, you usually follow someone for a little bit, and it's the person they're following, like, come on, you gotta keep up, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. I know shit's hitting the fan, but we got a job to do. And it's always exciting. Even with students, sometimes we get students about like 3 months out of the year during the trauma nighttime, and you'll see them, and we'll get like a true good one. It was like, I think we had someone have like a giant pipe fell on their leg, and it essentially just destroyed their like tip fib. And one of the students was like, oh, I need a comp tip fib. And I was like, well, here we have a trauma, let's see what you got. And they go in there, as soon as they see the patient, and they look at me like, Miguel, how are we gonna do this? And I'm like, we're gonna do the same way we do every other tip fib. It's like, he's in the trauma bed, you put it under, shoot down, and then most likely you'll have to cross table. And they're like, okay, Miguel, got it. And they go in there, shoot the AP, and then on the lateral, I was holding the board, the patient would start yelling and started, acting, like causing a scene. And like the tech was just looking at me, I was looking at the student, and I was like, the doctor was like, shoot it. The student kind of like froze up, so I had to like take over the situation, and like the student just was in the back, kind of just like trying to, I guess, piece herself together. I don't know. And we finished everything, and we wiped down the board. It was dirty and bleeding, and like the doctor looked at the images, told us what was going on, and like, good work, X-ray. And then I looked at the student. The student was like, I don't know how you do this, Miguel. I was struggling. And I was like, it's okay. Everyone goes through their own phases. But like, as soon as you get your brain situated into what's going on, and you just kind of like, it's almost like you become a robot, and you know what you have to do. Regardless of what noise, whatever's going on, you know what you have to do, and you just execute it, and you'll be good. So, I do enjoy working in the emergency room. It brings excitement to my life a little bit. Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to deal with like trauma ones all the time, because it does bring a lot of hectic. Every once in a while, it's not that bad. But I'd say probably once a year in the past several years I've been working, we get like one true high level, like, you're like, oh shit, type of patient that comes in, and even you feel a type of way when you're doing that. I've had like a few, like probably once or twice of those that even I'm like, oh damn, this is about to be interesting. And I tell you, when those people come in and you gotta do the X-ray, and everyone huddles around your machine to see what's happening, it's something. But I do enjoy it. I know that for most people, some people don't like the emergency room. They don't like dealing with like the randomness. They like something more structured. But I think that is pretty structured in its own way, because like you start off, you have like certain months, it's like the cold and flu, and then it's more of the summertime, so people leave, and it's more of the typical ATVs type of accidents, or you have the football seasons, people getting hurt like that. It has its own little things. My recommendation for anyone who decides to work in the emergency room, if you're smart and you structured your PTO around the winter seasons, because during the winter season is when we get the most amount of work, a bunch of chest x-rays, you could say that your chest x-rays probably tripled or quadrupled the amount of x-rays you'll do, just simple x-rays, because everyone's coming in because of cold and flu. So my recommendation is to burn your PTO during those times. That's when I do mine. December, that's a good time to take it, or February, depending on where's your winter seasons in your place, because it does become hectic in there. Yes, but you will Miguel. We'll see you on the next one.